Fear will kill you. There is a kind of death that doesn't wait for the body to collapse. A death that begins in the mind, quiet, patient, unnoticed. It erodes your courage grain by grain, until one day, without realizing it, you are alive only in form, but not in truth. This death has a familiar name: fear. Fear does not strike like lightning. It seeps in like cold air through a cracked window, slow, subtle, but relentless. It convinces you that the cage is safer than the sky, that silence is wiser than expression, and that your hesitation is somehow a form of wisdom. But fear is a master of illusions. Every illusion it whispers is designed to keep you small. Think back to the quiet moments of your life. The opportunities you felt deep in your bones were meant for you, the ones you walked away from, not because you were incapable, but because fear painted a picture of a disaster that never actually existed. Fear's greatest victory is not stopping you, it is making you stop yourself. Every time you hold back your voice, every time you choose the familiar over the meaningful, every time you shrink from the edge of possibility, fear grows stronger, not because it is powerful, but because you surrendered your power to it. Let me ask you something with brutal honesty. When was the last time fear allowed you to become the person you were capable of being? Fear does not protect you. Fear prevents you, preventing you from discovering the depth of your own strength, the shape of your potential, the life that quietly waits behind the doors you never opened. In this video, we will not simply talk about fear. We will expose it, strip it of the illusions it hides behind, reveal the silent ways it reorganizes your life without your permission. Because there is one truth you must confront before anything can change. If you do not kill your fear will kill you, not suddenly, but slowly, beautiful dream by beautiful dream. Chapter 1. Understanding fear's grip. Fear is not just something you feel, it is something that quietly shapes you. It rearranges your priorities, it edits your decisions, it redraws the borders of your life, without ever asking for your permission. On the surface, fear looks reasonable. It dresses itself in the language of logic, caution, maturity. It tells you, be realistic. Don't risk too much. Stay where it's safe. But underneath that calm voice is a hand tightening around your potential. The most dangerous thing about fear is not that it makes you panic, it's that it makes you comfortable. You start calling your routines stability. You call your limitations personality. You call your avoidance wisdom. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to confuse being numb with being at peace. Let's go deeper. Fear was originally designed to keep you alive. In a world of teeth and claws and real danger, fear was the alarm that screamed, run, hide, protect yourself. But the world around you changed. The threats became more abstract. Judgment, rejection, embarrassment, failure. Yet your mind still reacts, as if every uncomfortable situation is a wild animal ready to tear you apart. So what happens? You don't run from lions, you run from possibilities. You don't hide from predators, you hide from your own gifts. You avoid the conversation you need to have. You avoid the risk that could change everything. You avoid the path that demands more of you than staying the same. But tell me honestly, what has this avoidance ever truly given you? Has fear ever led you to a life you're proud of? Has it ever introduced you to the strongest version of yourself? No, fear only offers one kind of life, a life permanently smaller than your capacity. The saddest part? Fear rarely says, "Don't do it." It prefers softer words. "I'm not ready yet. I just need more time. Maybe later, when things are more stable." These sentences feel intelligent. They sound careful. But in reality, they are chains. There is no perfect moment. There is only the moment you decide that fear has dictated your life for long enough. People who grow, who change, who step into a life that actually reflects who they are not the ones who feel no fear. They are the ones who stop negotiating with it. They feel the tightness in their chest. They hear all the worst-case scenarios in their mind, and then they move anyway. For them, fear is no longer a red light. It is a signal. You are standing at the edge of something that matters. So let me ask you directly, is less than #0? 5 is greater than. How many of your decisions have been driven more by what you are afraid of than by what you truly desire? How many times have you lowered your ambition, softened your truth, or shrunk your presence just to keep fear comfortable? Fear's grip is not always loud. Sometimes it feels like just the way I am. But the way you are may be nothing more than the person fear allowed you to become. Today can be the first day you stop treating fear as a guardian and start seeing it as what it really is, a wall between you and the life that could have been yours. In the next chapter, we will uncover the subtle tricks fear uses, the doubts it plants, the delays it feeds on, and the false comfort it wraps around you, so you can finally see how it has been shaping your story from the shadows. If you are tired of living small, keep watching. It's time to drag fear into the light. Chapter 2. How fear manipulates you. Fear rarely attacks you directly. It prefers strategy over confrontation, subtlety over force. And its greatest power is not in frightening you, but in guiding you, without you realizing you're being guided at all. Fear manipulates you through 3 silent weapons: doubt, delay, and the illusion of comfort. 1. Fear plants doubt. Doubt is fear's quiet ambassador. It does not shout, "Don't do it." Instead, it whispers almost politely, "What if you fail? What if they laugh? What if you're simply not enough?" Doubt exaggerates your weaknesses and minimizes your strengths. It stretches small risks into enormous catastrophes, and it shrinks the possibility of success until it looks like a foolish fantasy. Here is fear's trick. It never tells you, "You can't." It asks, "What makes you think you can?" That question alone has stopped more dreams than failure ever will. Every person you admire experienced doubt, but they refused to negotiate with it. They moved forward, not because they were sure, but because they knew the alternative was spiritual death. What would your life look like if you stopped treating doubt as a verdict and started treating it as noise? 2. Fear feeds on delay. Procrastination is not a time problem, it is a fear problem. Most people don't postpone their goals because they are lazy. They postpone them because the first step feels heavier than staying still. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. I need more research. I need to feel more confident first. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And next year becomes a version of you who is still waiting for the right moment that never arrives. Here's the truth. You don't delay because the path is unclear. You delay because the path demands courage. Fear doesn't stop your life. It just slows it until you mistake standing still for stability. 3. Fear creates the illusion of comfort. Fear knows you won't stay in chains if the chains hurt, so it builds you a prison that feels like a warm room. You stay in relationships that drain you, jobs that shrink you, habits that numb you, not because they fulfill you, but because they are familiar. Comfort is fear's most elegant trap. It whispers, at least here, nothing can hurt you. What it doesn't tell you is, here, nothing can grow either. Comfort creates a life where you do not suffer big failures, but you also never experience deep meaning, true achievement, or the version of yourself you were capable of becoming. Comfort feels safe, but safety often feels like slow death when your soul was built for expansion. Breaking free. To break out of fear's manipulation, you must first see it clearly. Awareness is liberation's first doorway. But awareness alone is not enough. You must also act, not because the fear is gone, but because your life matters more than the stories fear tells. In the next chapter, we will go beyond observation and into transformation. You will learn how to rewire the very thoughts fear uses to control you. The mind that fear shaped can become the mind that fear cannot enter. If you're ready for that transformation, continue. The shift begins now. Chapter 3. Rewiring your mind to overcome fear. Fear is not just a feeling. It is a pattern, a repeated script your mind has rehearsed for years. But if fear is a pattern, then it can be rewritten. Your mind is not fixed. It bends, adapts, reshapes itself based on what you consistently feed it. And fear survives only when your thoughts remain unquestioned. Fear becomes powerful when you mistake its voice for truth. But listen closely. Fear sounds familiar, yet never truly sounds like you. To rewire your mind, you must change how you interpret fear itself. Most people treat fear as a stop sign, a warning that something terrible is ahead. But those who grow, who stretch, who transform their lives, they see fear differently. For them, fear is not a wall. It is a threshold, the thin, trembling edge between the life they know and the life they hunger for. Reprogramming your thoughts. Your mind believes what you repeatedly tell it. If your inner voice says, "I'm not ready, I'll fail, I'm not capable," your life will shrink to match those sentences. But new thoughts open new possibilities. Tell your mind, "I can learn, I can begin small, I refuse to surrender to fear." Challenge every fearful thought. Ask yourself, is this danger real or imagined? Is this fear protecting me or limiting me? Will this matter a year from now? Most fears dissolve the moment they are questioned. Small, consistent actions. Fear grows when you stay still. Inaction is its oxygen. But action, any action, is fear's suffocation. Start small. Speak one honest sentence. Work on your dream for 10 minutes. Choose one step that fear does not approve of. Each small action sends a message to your mind. I am capable. I am moving. I am not controlled. Confidence is not something you find. It is something you build by repeatedly choosing courage over comfort. Imagine the life fear told you was impossible. Your mind does not distinguish between memory and vivid imagination. If you repeatedly picture failure, your brain adapts to that future. But if you imagine yourself rising, speaking boldly, acting courageously, growing beyond fear, your mind begins steering you toward that vision. Imagination becomes architecture. What you visualize with conviction slowly becomes direction. The choice. Fear will always exist, but fear does not always have to lead. Every moment offers two paths, the one you take because you are afraid, and the one you take because you are alive. The life you want is on the other side of the decision. Fear is trying to delay. In the next chapter, we reveal the true cost of fear, the dreams it kills, the years it steals, and the person it prevents you from becoming. Continue if you're ready to confront what fear has already taken. Chapter 4. The True Cost of Fear. Fear does not simply stop you from taking risks. Its damage is far quieter, far deeper. Fear steals from you in a way that leaves no wounds on the body, only empty spaces in your life where meaning should have been. Look around at the people you know. How many live in a state of almost tried, almost changed, almost became who they were meant to be? This is the true cost of fear. A life that looks complete on the outside, but feels unfinished on the inside. Fear steals your potential. Imagine the person you could be, the bolder version of you, the one unafraid to speak, to try, to step forward. Now, imagine losing that person without ever meeting them. Fear convinces you that failure is the worst outcome, but regret is far more brutal. Failure ends, regret does not. Fear limits you long before life does. It builds invisible ceilings above your dreams and calls them realistic goals. It trains you to live within boundaries that were never meant for you. Fear kills your happiness. A life governed by fear is a life without true fulfillment. Happiness comes from movement, from growth, from challenge, from stepping outside the familiar. But fear freezes you. It traps you in routines that feel safe, but slowly suffocate your spirit. You stop exploring. You stop imagining. You stop becoming. Fear's comfort is a beautiful cage, soft on the inside, but locked from the outside. And many people live their entire lives stroking the softness of the cage, never noticing the lock. Fear diminishes your impact. Think of the people who inspire you, leaders, creators, courageous souls. None of them lived small. None of them chose fear over expression. When you overcome fear, you don't just change your own life. You become a signal, a proof to others that courage is possible. But when you surrender to fear, your silence echoes further than your voice ever could have. You rob the world of the contribution only you could have made. The final truth. Fear will not disappear, but it can be dethroned. The greatest tragedy is not a life cut short, but a life lived too small, is less than has shown. 0 is greater than. Every day you allow fear to guide you is a day stolen from the life you were meant to live. So ask yourself, honestly, will you continue surrendering your years to a quiet enemy? Or will you decide today that fear no longer gets to choose your future? Because fear only wins when you refuse to confront it. But the moment you step forward, even trembling, fear begins to die. In the closing section, we will gather every truth uncovered so far and turn it into a clear path forward. What have we learned? Fear is not a storm that arrives suddenly. It is a quiet architect, shaping your decisions, your behaviors, your entire life, through small, unnoticed compromises. We've seen how fear disguises itself as doubt that weakens you, as delay that slows you, as comfort that traps you. We learned that fear grows stronger in silence, but weaker under examination. And most importantly, we discovered that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move, while fear struggles to keep up. Your life expands every time you choose action over hesitation, truth over avoidance, growth over comfort. Because the greatest loss is not failure, it is the future version of you that fear prevented from ever existing. Thank you for watching. If this message reached you, do not let it become just another video. Do something with it. Make one decision today that fear has delayed for years. And if this journey opens something within you, a thought, a realization, a small spark of courage, share it so that someone else may find their beginning too. Like, share, and subscribe if you want more videos that challenge your limits and awaken the deeper parts of who you are. Thank you for watching. Now go and reclaim the life fear tried to steal from you.